Okay. All right, folks. It's now time to start the introduction to Expanding Visions 32. Let me see if I can share the screen, if this is going to work. Uh, can you see the screen?
Yes,
Yep.
Do you see the
Yes.
yes,
Expanding Visions
Yep.
32?
You
yes.
sent
Okay.
that to us.
So, Expanding Visions 32, as I said, this is the 32nd year of the class. Um, We've taught it every year since we started, and even through the COVID years when it was mostly online. But we are going back to having field trips and shooting together, and then having review sessions. Uh, all of the classes will begin around 6:30 p.m. They'll last up to 2 hours. You can leave at any time, of course. The class is free to Camera Club members, to Park West members who have paid their dues. And for non-members, the fee is $65 for the year, for the class. And it also gives you membership for the following year. Okay. Um, we accept checks if you're not a member, and we also accept Zelle. So if you want to know anything more about that, and let me know, and we'll get you included.
Nobody is.
So here's the class schedule, basically. Um, and when you look at it, you can see the date and the day of the week, what we're going to be doing, and where it's going to be taking place. Um, Tonight is the introduction to the class. We're going to go over everything that you need to know, and it's a virtual meeting using Zoom. Next Monday, the 6th, is the first field trip and assignment. The assignments and the field trips coincide with the 4 summer meetings that the club has, the club's nights out. So you will all be getting information about that. It's all in photo notes, and you'll be receiving the weekly reminders telling you what's happening. If you don't want to do the assignment, you can, of course, come on the field trips, the club's nights out, and shoot whatever you want. But if you want to do the assignments, you're certainly welcome to. And as always, if you can't attend any or all of the field trips, like David, who's in Scotland, or Charles, who might be in California, or somebody who has to go somewhere that evening, you can do the assignment anywhere at any time and then share the images with us the following week. So you can see for July 6th, a Monday, assignment 1 is titled Tall, Wide, and More. It's being held at Hudson Yards. Then 10 days later, that's the following week on Thursday, we have the review session. That's virtual. You will all get the Zoom link to join that. You have to send the images at least a day before so we can share them. But that gives you 10 days to work on, or 9 days to work on your images and get them to us so that we can share them with the group. And you'll get all of the details as we proceed. Next meeting will be assignment 2, and we're talking about backlight and sidelight, and that will take place at Pier 57. If you haven't been there, we'll discuss it a little bit later. And then assignment 3, I call Lilies of the Field, and we're meeting in Chinatown, and that's all about depth of field. And then assignment 4, Full Speed Ahead, is about shutter speed, and that will be meeting at Coney Island. So the next thing you see here are synopses or short statements about the details of the assignments. Okay. My phone number is there in case you're lost on the way to one of the trips or whatever. And all assignments may be completed on your own, either in the places where we went or anywhere else. Just follow the assignments. Any questions so far on the way the class is organized? I can't see any hands, but just call
Chuck,
out.
Chuck, how many images are we expected to send you?
Um, no more than 8 images.
8?
8.
Okay.
Um, yeah, that we'll probably rush through them the first review session, but then the following review sessions, when people start dropping out, we'll spend more time with the images. But we'll get to all the images that get sent in. Okay. We're now going to go into Expanding Visions 32, subtitle Back to Basics. There are totally 20 pages in this document. You all should have received it. If you haven't gotten it yet, uh, please check your spam folders or whatever. And if it isn't there, get in touch with me and we'll send it out again to you. Okay, for the basic equipment, any kind of camera will work. Uh, there's a caveat to that. Single lens reflex, mirrorless cameras, advanced bridge cameras will be fine because you have complete control over your exposures. Some point and shoot cameras and some phones, cell phone cameras, iPhones or whatever, don't necessarily have all the controls you'll need to control the aperture and to control the shutter speed. If you have an iPhone, there are programs you can download which will give you those capabilities. But if you're just using what comes with the phone when you bought it, you might not be able to do all the assignments with it.
Leica has a very good app.
I'm sure that they do, and there are lots of others. Uh, we'll get into some of them maybe later. Okay. Zoom lenses are not, excuse me? Okay, zoom lenses are not required, but they are an advantage. Um, Prime lenses, non-zoom lenses, work for all of the techniques that we're going to be doing, but you're going to have to move a lot more, which isn't a bad thing. Okay. Tripods are not suggested for Expanding Visions 32. Many of the destinations we'll be going to are on private property, and they don't permit tripods. And others, although they might permit them, they are usually crowded in the evenings, and that can be hazardous to you and your equipment and to other people. Um, Although tripods are not restricted from Coney Island, for example, we have had the security guards and police come up and ask us to move them because we were blocking the pathways. So if you're going to use a tripod in any of these places, you want to stand over to the side so you're not blocking pedestrian traffic. And that way nobody will kick over your tripod. If you want to use a monopod, that's also a possibility. Okay, filters. Polarizing filters are helpful. The classes are being taught and given in the summer. That's going to be laid out until after we're finished shooting, for the most part, light out. And you might need to use a polarizing filter or a neutral density filter to cut down the amount of light, especially if you want to shoot a motion and get slow shutter speeds. there might be too much light, so you need some kind of filters to control it. And the polarizing filters, of course, control reflections in glass and plastic and a lot of other surfaces, but not necessarily metal surfaces. Okay. I always get asked if people want to use their software for their images. Of course, you can use your editing software for post-processing uh, to refine your images, to sharpen them, to adjust the colors or whatever. But you know, the saying goes, get it right in the camera. Um, and that's your best bet. If you want to work on it in Photoshop or Elements or Lightroom or Luminar or Topaz or anything else, um, especially if you're going to be resizing your images, which we hope you do, you'll need to use software. As for the camera's ISO, that'll be based on the lighting conditions that we encounter. And we'll be showing the images on Zoom as projected digital images. The last pages of the class notes are how to create your PDIs, the digital files, on either Photoshop or Lightroom. Any questions on the equipment and this sort of stuff? Just call out if you have any. Okay. There's plenty of room on these pages to write down additional notes. All right, camera settings. I'm just going to go over this briefly unless there are any questions. Most cameras, you can set 5 different modes to take your pictures. And the exposure mode is one of the most important. And you can shoot in shutter priority, aperture priority, manual exposure mode, and also program in auto, which I don't suggest because you have less control over the images. Okay. The next mode is the focusing mode. And there are basically 2 kinds of modes that you would want to use. One is a wide area focus or a multi-point. It looks at everything in the image and selects your focus from what it thinks is best. There's also center focus, which just looks at the central portion of the image and focuses in on that. But then if you want to move your subject away from the center, you have to figure out how to do that on your camera. But we'll get into that when we talk about the assignments. The drive mode allows you to shoot 1 shot at a time or many shots, burst mode, continuous shooting, whatever. A lot of us like to use the continuous shooting mode because we're more likely to get a good shot that way. Then there are the metering modes, where you can meter the entire scene, just the central portion, but not excluding the outside edges. And the central spot, the central point, is where you can meter from. So that's them matrix metering, multi-metering, evaluative metering are all reading everything in the viewfinder. Center weighted reads from the center as well as parts of the outside of the image. And spot metering meters just from the central 5% of the frame. You can use any of those. When it comes to recording your images, the recording mode, also called the image quality, this is where you want to decide to shoot in raw files and capture them as raw images or shoot them as JPEGs. Many cameras you can shoot RAW plus JPEG, so you can have both of best worlds, the best of both worlds. But if you are going to shoot in JPEG only, try to use the finest quality, the highest quality, so you have the most detail in your images. If you have any questions on that, now's the time on any of the camera functions. If you bought a new camera, be sure you go through the manual so you know what you're doing. When we get in the field, it's very difficult with 30 people or more. We'll have at least 25 different cameras, and they all work differently. They all have different menus and different names for things. So we'll try to do the best we can before we get there. Read your manual. Okay, there are 4 assignments. The first one, I'm going to go through quite a bit so you see how the layout is. They're all 4 assignments are laid out the same way. The name and the number of the assignment, the day and date, the title, and where it's taking place. The first thing I go through is the meeting place. I tell you where we're meeting, what the meeting place is like, and here you can see we're meeting at Hudson Yards. It's a home to 14 acres of public plazas, gardens, public art attractions, including the Vessel, the Edge, the High Line, and a lot more. I tell you where we're going to meet. We'll meet on the north side of the Vessel, near the Vessel gift shop at 6:30 p.m. Then I tell you how to get there. The number 7 subway line stops right in, the last stop stops right in Hudson Yards. And then there are a bunch of buses and other subway lines. And I give you information on how to get there. If you have a phone that has a map program, just plug in the Vessel and it'll take you right there. I also have this for the latecomers. We'll wait at the meeting spot until approximately 6:45. That's 15 minutes or so. We'll then have a short discussion of the assignment. I can answer any other questions you have. We'll decide where we're going to walk to, how we're going to walk there. And I tell you which way we'll start walking, if any particular direction. And then I tell you where we'll end our walk. At this one, it'll be the northwest corner of 33rd Street and Hudson Boulevard. It's right in front of the subway station.
For the haircut gal. So I don't have any-
Julie, can you mute yourself?
I'm sorry. I thought I was me.
Okay. And we'll meet at the end around 8 o'clock. So that'll give you at least an hour of shooting. If you
come early.
you can always come earlier and shoot beforehand. You don't have to only shoot the assignment. You can shoot whatever you want. I'm sure there'll be Camera Club members there who are not taking the class, who don't want to do the assignment, but who want to be there and shoot with us. And that's perfectly fine. I then have the short synopsis of what we'll be doing. And this first assignment, which if you remember is tall, wide, and more, you'll be shooting everything in 3 ways. You'll hold your camera horizontally in what's called the landscape orientation. You'll shoot it vertically in the portrait orientation, and you'll shoot it diagonally at different angles. So you have horizontal, vertical, and at least one diagonal shot. And you can keep shooting all different subject matter, people, places, things, whatever. Okay, the basic equipment we went over a few seconds ago. Telephoto lens is helpful. Be sure to dress for the weather. It will probably be hot, so you don't want to wear your woolen overcoat or your parka. Wear loose-fitting clothes, comfortable clothes that won't restrict your movements. If you think you'll be getting down to shoot something from your knees to shoot up or something weird like that, wear comfortable, loose-fitting clothing. Please, we're using digital cameras. If you have a film camera and that's the only thing you have, you can shoot it, but you're going to have to scan the images, have them turned into digital files. Okay. Now we get into the techniques. Okay. So tall, wide, and more. Tall is the vertical, wide is the horizontal, and more is the diagonal. So basically, you're going to try shooting the subjects in different orientations with the camera and see what we get, see what you get. Okay, I'm going to try to switch. I'm going to stop the share. And I'm going to go back.
And share
Yeah, I'm going to share again
at the bottom.
and go to bridge. And can you see this image?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So this one is shot vertically. This was shot on a expanding visions class to the Times Square area. Same shot horizontally from the same exact spot. And then shot diagonally. Same two cars, same everything. Just a lot of quick shooting. But you get the idea. A vertical shot, portrait orientation. Horizontal shot, landscape orientation. Diagonal shot, any degrees you want. And then you can make your decision as to what works best. Here's a shot taken on another expanding visions class years ago. This is a vertical shot to suit the verticality of the subject. Same subject shot at an angle, or rather horizontally, to give a room to move into the frame, and then shot at an angle. Okay. This was not on a club field trip. This was when we were sailing out of the harbor. And that's the Verrazano Bridge in a vertical shot with the lighthouse in the foreground. Then this is another shot. This is the horizontal shot. Same subject, shot differently. And then as we were going under the bridge on our cruise ship, this was the diagonal shot. Here we are back at Times Square. This was a shot looking up of the buildings. I think the theme we were working on at this was reflections, but I shot it three ways: horizontally, vertically, and then I tilted the camera at an angle and got this. I made it into a square frame, but totally different look. Okay. Here was a shot vertically of the people walking and the cone. This is in homage to Paul Grabanier, of course. And then I shot it at an angle. I tried shooting it horizontally, but there was just too much distraction on either side, so I didn't include that image. Okay. This was vertically, horizontally, and then at an angle.
Which
I added
assignment,
the
which
hand
assignment are we
later.
going to Paris?
Yeah. Okay. Um, this was in Iceland. We did have a club field trip there, but this was not shot on that trip. The horizontal picture, the vertical picture, and the diagonal picture. Okay, we'll now go to assignment 2. It's also on Monday, the 20th of July. Backlight and sidelight. We're meeting at Pier 57. Here's the location. It's in Hudson River Park around 17th Street. By the way, did you know that if you subtract 40 from the pier number, that's the actual street number? So Pier 57, subtract 40, and it's 17th Street.
Good tip.
So the Pier 57 is between Chelsea Piers and Little Island Park. And there are buses that'll take you right there. Some will only go to 11th Avenue or 10th Avenue. 14th Street, crosstown gets you close. And the subways, I'd suggest taking any of the subways to 14th Street and then taking the bus west. All right, we'll meet in front of the City Winery on the west side of West Street. That's right in front of Pier 57. It's at the foot of approximately 15th, between 15th and 16th Street. West side of West Street, West 15th Street. Wow, that's a lot of wests. 6:30 p.m. For the latecomers, we'll wait there for about 15 minutes. We'll start our discussion, and then we'll start shooting. And then we'll walk around the pier. You can walk in any direction. You can walk off the pier if you want. We'll explore
It's where they have that park.
the rooftop of the pier is a park which gives you great views up and down the Hudson and back to Manhattan and everything else. And then we'll meet back at the starting point at 8 o'clock and we'll go over the assignment. We'll talk about it. And if anybody wants to dine, there are over a dozen eateries on the pier, and there's plenty of space to sit down and talk and eat and chat. So the assignment for backlight is basically to shoot the subjects with the light coming from behind. So we're on the Hudson River. Across the Hudson River, we have the sunset. So we'll have the bright sky, and we can do a lot of shooting that way to get silhouettes and partial silhouettes and rim lighting. Okay, so I go into a few definitions of what is a silhouette. It's a dark shape set against a bright background. An outline is not a silhouette, although some people might consider it. A partial silhouette reveals the shape, but also some of the details in the subject. A full silhouette, you don't see any details. And then rim lighting occurs when the light is in back or to the side of the subject and it illuminates the edges of the subject. Now, a shadow is not technically a silhouette. A shadow is the dark area. It's not a silhouette. A shadow is the dark area created when the light is blocked by the subject. Sometimes you can shoot a subject and get a silhouette and a shadow at the same time. Okay, so now we go into the techniques. And I tell you where you have to be, where the subject has to be, and what the bright area could be: sky, a wall, a body of sand or water, whatever that's brighter than the subject. So here are some suggested settings for shooting silhouettes in rim light. And then I tell you what to do. And it's fairly simple. Focus on the subject, but take the reading from the bright background. And I give you a brief explanation of how to refocus your camera, or how to move the camera from the focus if you're going to then read the background and then move the camera back to the subject. If you don't know how to do it, this will give you a brief explanation, and then you check your manual, your camera manual, for a detail of how to do it in your specific camera. Okay. And then when you're shooting, you'll make adjustments with the f-stop or the shutter speed or whatever, or the exposure compensation dial on your camera, to change from a full silhouette to a partial silhouette. And to get the rim lighting, remember my rule number 1. No matter where you're standing, sitting, or lying, it's never the right spot from which to make the photograph. Move around. Move left or right, up or down, closer or further away. And here's that image I mentioned with a silhouette and a shadow. Any questions on backlighting and side lighting? Okay. Moving right along. Assignment number 3 is in August 3rd, Lilies of the Field. And that has to do with depth of field. And we'll be doing this shooting in Chinatown. So I give a little explanation of what Chinatown is, where it is. You've all probably been there at some time or other. And then where we'll meet: the heart of Chinatown on the southeast corner of Canal and Center Streets, in front of the cell phone store at 6:30. Then I tell you how to get there, what subway lines are close. There are no buses on Canal Street, so you want to take a subway line that gets you closest to the meetup spot. And then for the latecomers, again, we'll wait about 15 minutes because we never know what the traffic is like or what this subway system is like. We'll have our discussion about the assignment, and we'll start walking east on Canal Street, make a right turn on Baxter Street, and you can walk on both sides of the street or shoot whatever you want. And we'll end up meeting on the northeast corner of Columbus Park at Bayard and Mulberry Streets at 8 p.m. The assignment synopsis again: working on depth of field, the equipment and the media, pretty much what we've had before. Again, be careful if you bring a tripod because the streets are very crowded. I go into an explanation of depth of field and aperture. I'm not going to go through it now. You can read it. You all have the notes. You probably know a lot of this. What the f-stops are on many lenses and cameras, and how to control the depth of field using f-stop or aperture. Definition of depth of field, what's sharp, acceptably sharp from the front to the back of the image. And then there are two examples. We have one with shallow depth of field where the subject is in focus and the background is blurry. We have great depth of field where the subject is sharp and it continues to be sharp going into the background. Great depth of field. So basically, if you want great depth of field, you need a small aperture.
Hmm.
And if you want shallow depth of field, so a blurry background, you need a larger aperture, a larger opening. And then we explain the other factors in depth of field, the distance from the subject and the focal length of the lens. And it explains everything here. And all three factors, aperture, distance, and focal length, combine to control the depth of field. Okay, then the technique. We're going to be experimenting with apertures and how they control your depth of field. And you're going to set the aperture either in aperture controlled exposure mode or manually. And then you're going to shoot various images at different f-stops to give you different depths of field. And you can do the same thing by zooming and moving in closer. And you can try different ways to get different depths of field. Okay, so let me stop the share. Let me start the share and we'll go back to the videotape, as they say. Where's the bridge?
You closed it. Stop.
Okay. All right, sorry about this technical difficulty. Let me open the bridge. Now let me share. There's the bridge. Share the bridge. Let me go back. I didn't show the backlight pictures, did I? Skipped over them. Sorry. Okay. Silhouette. This was shot at one of the club model shoots. This is a rim light shot on one of our trips to a day field trip to shoot the sunflowers in New Jersey, and then played with in Photoshop to bring out the rim lighting. Another silhouette, but tinted. Not the sky as the background, but the brighter water. This is a partial silhouette. You see the shape of the elephant and you see some of the details. And the brightness in the background is the sun shining through the dust. Okay, this is a silhouette of a frog on a leaf. Another
Chuck,
one of our
Chuck.
workshops.
Chuck, was that a real
Yes.
frog or was that your frog that you bring with you? That
It's my
fake
plastic frog.
That was your plastic frog?
Plastic frog.
I love
But it was
that.
a real silhouette.
Oh, I know, but I just
Okay.
love that plastic frog you talked about.
All right, this is one of our models at a nude workshop with the rim lighting. This was from one of our summer field trips where we took this Staten Island ferry past the Statue of Liberty. Nice silhouette. Another model shoot, partial silhouette, where you see the shape, but you also see details in the legs. This was a bug, some kind of mosquito, but it was pretty big. It was on a window, and I shot it from inside, and the background is the sky. Full silhouette. This was shot on our African field trip, the club trip to Namibia, and rim lighting. And this was shot on a club field trip out to the east end of Long Island, to Montauk Point. Got lucky with the bird and the sunset. This was shot in Florida. Same idea, sunset, silhouette of the flying bird. And this was shot from the roof, I think, of the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Full silhouette with the setting sun. Another Florida shot. Silhouette of the great blue heron. And this was shot from a high floor hotel window. Silhouette of a couple walking against the rainy pavement, and also their shadows. Yeah, much better?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Shallow depth of field. I focused on the red leaves or flowers in the foreground at the bottom, and then the couple walking in the rain in the background, and the street and the vehicle. Shallow depth of field. They were all blurred out of focus using a wide aperture. The widest open aperture on the lens, whatever lens it was. This was a cruise. We stopped in a port on western Mexico. We had to tender from the ship to the shore. And there was this guy on a little inflatable raft, and then the ship in the background. But there's probably a mile and a half between him and the boat, but they're both sharp. Small aperture. Big ship. Okay, shallow depth of field. Green iguana, sharp, but the background, the green leaves, muted and out of focus because they're blurry, because they're far away. Wide open aperture. Same idea here. The honeybee on a flower. This kid was running in the park. Great depth of field. He's sharp, the grass, the sidewalk, all sharp going into the distance. Small aperture. This, of course, is a composite, but you see the depth of field on the tracks. Sharp in the front, sharp all the way in the back. And I just put the fire hydrant there because
Why not?
it needed it. You know, when they talk about leading lines, they should lead to something. So I made sure it did. Okay, this was shot in Iceland. It's a red leg. That's the name of the bird. And shallow depth of field. The background all blurred. A red shank, yes. Sorry. Thank you. Shot in Keukenhof Gardens in the Netherlands. Flowers up close or sharp. The flowers in the background out of focus. large aperture, shallow depth of field. Same here. Club field trip to Colorado. This is Great Sand Dunes National Park. Trees and the shrubs in the foreground are sharp. And the sand dunes in the back and the sky in the further back are sharp. Extremely small aperture, great depth of field. Club field trip to New Mexico. This is White Sands. It was a national monument then.
Hold on.
Now it's a national park. Shallow depth of field. Okay, let me stop sharing. Let me see if I can get out of this. Okay, let me now go back to share. And we'll go to Acrobat and we'll share. Can you see the notes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. It worked that time. Okay, the final assignment on August 17th, it's called Full Speed Ahead. We'll be working on shutter speeds to give a blurry motion, not because of depth of field, but because of movement, or to make it tack sharp by freezing the motion. We're meeting in Coney Island. I give you a little bit of history of Coney Island and tell you how to get there. And we'll be meeting in the picnic table area just to the right of the Nathan's building. We'll meet at 6:30. If you want to get a hot dog or fries or something else, come earlier or wait until the end and get something then. But I tell you how to get there and where we're meeting. And then again, for the latecomers, where we'll be meeting, at what time we'll start the lecture or the discussion, which way we'll walk. And then I give you a little extra. Sunset tonight is 7:52. So if you want to stay later to shoot when it's dark out and you get the full effect of the moving rides, the Ferris wheel, the roller coasters, whatever, you can certainly do that. But I know some people will be nervous about taking the train from Brooklyn back to Manhattan or wherever. So I suggest that you set up with other people so that you can ride in a group. If you're driving, you don't have that problem, but parking can be difficult. Okay.
Will you be
Usual
sending us
equipment. Excuse me?
Will you be sending us a list of who signed up?
Well, you'll see people here.
Okay.
We start the meetings 15 minutes early, so you can ask who's going to be driving where or who needs a ride or whatever. Okay, the basic equipment. Again, warning about the tripods. We've been told to move them when we were there in the previous time. The media, we know. Technique. So I explain what to set your shutter speed to, how to set it. The camera will then set everything else, the aperture or the f-stop. And you might want to try shooting in a lot of different shutter speeds. Freezing the motion with fast shutter speeds, blurring the motion with slow shutter speeds, probably want to shoot moving subjects, but you can shoot whatever you want. You can try moving the camera to get blurs. You can try using the tripod or holding the camera steady, leaning it on something. You can jiggle the camera. You can zoom the camera as you shoot. All of these give you possibilities, endless, infinite possibilities of playing with shutter speed.
Oh.
Okay, let me get out of this and show some more images. Okay. Shutter speed. This is a slow shutter speed of somebody walking. It was actually somebody dressed up as an Indian at a powwow. But you see the blur from the motion. But she wasn't walking very fast. So you can play with the shutter speed to see what works. This was an Indian dancer moving a lot faster. So the same shutter speed that I used on the previous image gives you a lot more blur. But you can again play with the shutter speed to either freeze the motion or make it even more blurry. This was a pelican diving into the water, going after dinner. It's moving probably 30, 40 miles an hour in a dive. So I was using a very fast shutter speed, shooting burst mode to capture as many shots as I can, and then chose the one that worked best. But freezing the motion. No blur in the wings at all. Okay, this is a musician, a guitarist. He's actually playing the guitar. His hand is moving, but the shutter speed was fast enough to freeze the motion. If you would have shot it, if I would have shot it at a slower shutter speed, then the hand would be blurred. The guitar would probably be sharp, but the hand would be blurred. This is a ride at Coney Island. It's called the Enterprise. I'm assuming it's still there. It does a lot of spinning around and moving up and down with a slow shutter speed. You get these fantastic abstract images. Okay, shot on the club field trip to Trinidad and Tobago. Shutter speed to capture the hummingbird. Freeze the bird, but enough shutter speed or a little shutter speed to catch the wings in motion. Its wings move hundreds of times a second. It's amazing. Back in Paris, this was a street scene. Traffic was going from left to right, and I was jiggling the camera as the cars and other traffic passed. And the vertical lines, the white and the red lines, are other kinds of lights that were in the background that didn't get stretched out like the traffic lights. Effects. This was shot at the dog track in Hialeah, Florida. Fast shutter speed to freeze the dogs and freeze the mud that's being splashed up. This is a shot at the beach. This was shot in Cuba on the club field trip there with the waves crashing against the rocks. But at a fast shutter speed to freeze the motion You can see the individual drops instead of using a slow shutter speed like when you're shooting a waterfall to get that cotton candy effect. Shooting the night sky, this is a long exposure to get the star trails. This is about 5 or 6 minutes. That was shot on a tripod. This is a much shorter exposure, so the stars aren't moving, they're points of light. But it's still a long enough exposure to capture everything. This is about 30-second exposure. In Florida, we have a lot of polo matches. So this horse is galloping towards the camera. So he's moving pretty fast, but I used a fast enough shutter speed, excuse me, to freeze the motion.
Chuck, are you using a tripod with any of these shots?
No,
No?
the star trails with tripod, but
Okay.
these are all handheld
Okay.
with a 600 millimeter lens. This is handheld again, but this is panning, slow shutter speed, following the horses. As they're moving, I'm moving the camera to follow them. It blurs the background, and they're not as blurred as the background. Subway train moving fast. Well, slowing down as it comes into the station, but still a blur. And this is a gull panned, so the background, the trees in the background are blurred, the gull is blurred, and because I'm moving the camera, the gull is uh, elongated. Interesting effect, but all slow shutter speed. Okay. Let me stop the share. And here we are back again. Let me go back to the notes and we'll share those again. We finish up the class notes with 2 pages of preparing a digital image. This one is done in Photoshop, tells you what to do, how to do it. And this one is in Lightroom. Again, step by step. If you're using another kind of software to process your images, you can Google, you can go to YouTube and find a video. There's literally unlimited number of websites and places to find all this information to resize your images and do anything else with them in the software. Okay, let me stop the share. Okay, questions, answers, problems. I usually say in the beginning of all my classes, the only dumb question is the one you don't ask. So if you have a question, please, now's the time, or at the beginning of any of the assignments, when we're in the field, you can ask the questions. Because I'm sure if you don't know something, there are other people who don't know it either. And they're just too embarrassed. Like I
Larry
was in the
Sappington has a
beginning.
question. Larry
Who?
Sappington.
Thanks.
Larry Sappington.
Oh, Larry, where are you? Oh, there you are.
Third from the left.
You joined us late?
No, I've been here.
This was recorded.
Oh, okay. Well, that's actually, you're picking up on my question. As I mentioned in the past, I will be looking forward to going out with the group on Mondays, but I have a continuing conflict on Thursday evenings. So I'm wondering if the review sessions can be recorded and posted on the website or made somehow available to people who couldn't make it.
Yes, we can do that. I don't know
Yay!
how long they'll be on the website or be available, but at least a week or so.
That'll be great. That'll be great because it's so important. It's half the fun.
Yes. Any other questions?
Yes.
Technical? Um,
I have a question.
yes, Will.
I will be spending most of the summer in Vermont, and getting to the locations is going to be a challenge. Vermont for us is a 4-hour drive back to New York City.
Yeah, and the subway doesn't have a stop in Vermont.
No, it doesn't. I'm looking into other alternatives.
Okay,
Like
that's fine.
I
Anything you want to do that will have, follow the assignments. Backlighting, uh,
can do that up
holding
there.
your camera different ways. You can do these things anywhere.
Yes,
But in the summer, it's fun for the members to get together,
I agree.
and shoot together and learn from each other.
And
So we try to
commiserate
do
with what
that.
they should have done.
Yeah. Now the first assignment, the first destination is Hudson Yards. There is a Van Lowen's ice cream shop there. So we'll see about getting ice cream together. For those of
That
you who
was
make
always a special treat after I played a game.
it. Ice cream? Not Van
Well,
Lowen's.
not Van Lowen's. The other special treat is if you scored the winning goal, you got a free beer from the company because we are owned by Molson's Brewery.
Were
I'd
you
walk in,
18 or over?
what? I'm sorry?
Were you old enough to drink it?
Yes. I'd walk in the
Okay.
coach's office and say, "Where's my beer? I scored the winning goal." He says, "I drink your beer. Get out of here."
Okay. Anyone else with questions, comments,
Question,
problems?
will there be rain dates if it's too rainy to go?
No. No.
So then just shoot it
If
on
it's,
our own somewhere else.
yes, you can shoot it. You can go there another time. You can shoot it whenever you want, or wherever you want. Just follow the assignments. If it's raining, it depends where you are. I mean, if you live in Long Island and it's raining, it might not be raining in Manhattan or in Coney Island or wherever we're meeting. So you can always Google the weather anywhere else or use your weather app on your phone. Marilyn, you have your hand up?
No, it's okay. No, I haven't, I have to eat lunch, dinner. Are we closing?
Okay,
Okay, sorry.
thank you. Anyone else?
I'll be missing a couple of the shootings, so I'll do them outside because I'll be away.
That's fine. I forgot to mention, this is my hat, the Camera Club hat, red hat camera. This is what I usually wear if I can find it on these field trips and on these assignments. So if you're looking for me, this is how to find me. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Suggestions?
I'm looking forward to this. It's always a great learning experience.
Thank you. So we'll see you all next Monday. We mentioned before the meeting started that this week is going to be terribly hot. The city has posted heat warnings. Temperature is going to be over 100 on several days. So if you're going out to shoot, bring lots of water. Know where there are indoor places where you can cool off. All of that sort of stuff. Be healthy and enjoy the week. Thank you, everyone.
You
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you
Good
very
night.
much.
Thank
Have
you.
a happy 4th, everybody.
Yeah.
Be
Happy
safe.
4th.
You too.